Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate 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 Vasudevaya.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayamudhirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should first offer respectful obeisances to the personality of God Narayan and to Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto the author, Srila Vyasadeva. And today we are reading from the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and second canto entitled The Cosmic Manifestation, and we are reading from chapter 6, entitled The Purusha Shukta Confirmed, and we are on text 37, and today is June 6, 2020. So I'm going to read one word at a time of Sanskrit, and you can repeat after me. Na aham yuyam yat vitam yatim vidu na vamadeva kim uta apare sura tat mayaya moita udaya tu idam virnimitam cha atmasamam vichakshmahe Naham nayugyam yaritam gatim vidu.
Naham nayugyam yadritam gatim vidu.
Navamadeva kim utapare suram.
Navamadeva kim utapare suram.
Tamaya yamoita budayastvahitam.
Tanmaya yamohita budayastvidam.
Vinirmitam chatma samam vichaksmahe.
Vinirmitam chatma samam vichaksmahe.
Naham nayuyam yadritam gatim vidu.
Naham nayuyam yadritam gatim vidu.
Navamadeva kim utapare suram.
Navamadeva kim utapare suram.
Tammaya yamohita budayastitam vidam.
Tanmaya yamohitam budayastvidam.
Vinirmitam chatma samachakatsmahe.
Vinirmitam chatma samam vichaksmahe.
Naham nayuyam yaritam gatim vidu.
Naham nayuyam yadritam gatim vidu.
Navamadeva kim utapare suram.
Navamadeva kim utapare suram.
Tanmaya yamohitam budayastvidam.
Tanmaya yamohita budayastvidam.
Vinirmitam chatma samam vichaksmahe.
Vinirmitam chatma samam vichaksmahe. Naham nayuyam yadritam gatim vidu.
Naham nayuyam yadritam gatim vidu.
Navamadeva kimuta paresura.
Navamadeva kimuta paresura.
Tanmaya mohita budaya svidam.
Tanmaya mohita budaya svidam.
Vinirmitam chatma samam vichaksmahe.
Vinirmita chatma samam vishakshmahe.
Naham nayuyam yadritam gatim vidur.
Naham nayuyam yadritam gatim vidur.
Navamadeva kimuta paresura.
Navamadeva kimuta paresura.
Tanmaya mohita budayas vidam.
Tanmaya mohita budayas vidam.
Vinirmitam chatma samam vichakshmahe.
Vinirmitam chatma samam vichaksmahe.
Someone else would like to chant online?
Naham nayuyam yadritam gatim vidur.
Naham sayuyam yadritam gatim vidur.
Navamadeva kim uta paresura.
Navamadeva kim uta paresura.
Tanmaya mohita budayastvidam.
Tanmaya mohita budaya svidam.
Vinirmitam chatma samam vichakshmahe.
Vinirmitam chatma samam vichaksmahe.
Aham nayuyam yadritam gatim vidur.
Aham nayuyam yadritam gatim vidur.
Navamadeva kim utapare surya.
Navamadeva kimuta paresura.
Tanmaya mohita budayastvedam.
Tanmaya mohita budayastvidam.
Vinirmitam chatma samam vichaksmane.
Vinirmitam chatma samam vichakshmahe.
Someone else online would like to chant?
Naham nayayam yadritam gatim vidur.
Naham sayuyam yadritam gatim vidur.
Navamadeva kim utapare sura.
Navamadeva kimuta paresura.
Tamaya mohita budayas vidam.
Tamaya mohita budayas vidam.
Vinirmitam chatma samam vichakshmahe.
Vinirmitam chatma samam vichaksmahe.
Someone else? We are going to do the word for word with translation. Na,
Na,
neither.
neither.
Aham,
Aham,
I.
I.
Yuyam,
Yuyam,
all your sons.
all your sons.
Yat,
Yat,
whose,
whose,
ritam,
ritam,
factual,
factual,
gatim,
gatim,
movements.
movement.
We do,
Vidu,
do not, do know.
no,
Na,
na,
nor,
nor,
Vamadeva,
Vamadeva,
Lord Shiva,
Lord Shiva,
Kim,
Kim,
what,
what,
Uta,
Uta,
else,
else,
Apare,
Apare,
others,
others,
Sura,
Sura,
demigods,
demigod,
Tat,
Tat,
by his,
by his,
Mayaya,
Maya,
by the illusory energy,
by the illusory energy,
Mohita,
Mohita,
bewildered,
bewildered,
Budaya,
Buddhaya,
with such
with
intelligence,
such intelligence,
two,
two,
but,
but,
Idam,
idam,
this,
this,
Virnirmitam,
vinirmitam,
what is created,
what is created,
Cha,
cha,
also,
also,
Atmasamam,
atma samam,
by dint of one's personal ability,
by dint of one's personal ability,
Vichaksmahe,
vishakshmahe,
observe.
observe.
Translation. Since neither Lord Shiva, nor you, nor I could ascertain the limits of spiritual happiness, how can other demigods know it? And because all of us are bewildered by the illusory and external energy of the Supreme Lord, we can see only this manifest cosmos according to our individual ability. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We have many times mentioned the names of the 12 selected authorities, Vadasa Mahajan, of which Brahma, Narada, and Lord Shiva had the list of the first, second, and third in order of merit of those who know something about the Supreme Lord. Other demigods, semi-demigods, Gandharva, Charana, Vyadyara, human being, or Asura, cannot possibly know fully about the potencies of the Absolute Lord, Sri Krishna. The demigods, semi-demigods, Gandharva, etc. are all highly intelligent persons in the upper planet. The human beings are inhabitants of the intermediate planet, and the Asuras are inhabitants of the lower planets. All of them have their respective conceptions and estimations of the absolute truth, as does the scientist or the empiric philosopher in human society. All such living entities are creatures of the material nature, and consequently, they are bewildered by the wonderful display of the three modes of material nature. Such a bewilderment is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 7:13. Tebir gunamaya bhaver ivi sarvamidam jagat. Every entity, beginning from Brahma down to the ant, is individually bewildered by the three modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. Everyone thinks in terms of individual capacity in this universe, which is manifest before us. Everyone thinks in terms of individual capacity that this universe, which is manifest before us, is all in all. And so the scientist in the human society of the 20th century calculates the beginning and end of the universe in his own way. But what can the scientist know? Even Brahma himself was once bewildered, thinking himself the only one Brahma favored by the Lord. But later on, by the grace of the Lord, he came to know that there are innumerable, more powerful Brahmas as well, in far bigger universes beyond this universe, and all of these universes combined together form Ekapad Vibhuti, or one force of the manifestation of the Lord's creative energy. The other three forces of his energy are displayed in the spiritual world. And so, what can the tiny scientist with a tiny brain know about the absolute personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna? The Lord says, therefore, Mohitam nibidjanati mam ebya param avyayam. Bewildered by such modes of material nature, they cannot understand that beyond this manifestation is a supreme person who is the absolute controller of everything. Brahma, Narada, and Lord Shiva know about the Lord to a considerable extent, and therefore one should follow the instruction of the great personality instead of being satisfied with a tiny brain and its playful discoveries such as spacecraft and similar product of science. As a mother is the only authority to identify the father of a child, so the mother Veda, presented by the recognized authorities such as Brahma, Narada, or Shiva, is the only authority to inform us about the absolute truth. Om Agyanati Merandasya, Ganya Jala Chakaya Shakshu Unmiliton Jana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, since my spiritual master opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Shri Chaitanya Manobistam Shapitam Yena Bhutale Swayamupa Kadamaya Antikam Vandeham Shivu Shiyuta Padakamalam Shrigum Vaishnavam Shah Shri Upam Sagajatam Sagana Aguratam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saita Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kamta Hada Kamta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorambi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Namami Hari Priye Ansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Askachade Jatari Naham Nayuyam Yatritam Gatim Vidu Navamana Deva Kim Utapari Sura Tamaya Yamohita Budayas Vidam Vinirmitam Chatma Samam Vichaks Mahe. Since neither Lord Shiva, nor you, nor I could ascertain the limits of spiritual happiness, how can other demigods know it? And because all of us are bewildered by the illusory energy, external energy of the Supreme Lord, we can see only this manifest cosmos according to our individual ability. So I thought that this verse is really a verse about humility. And one aspect, a very important aspect of spiritual life, of a quality to develop in order to make progress in spiritual life, which shouldn't be difficult to develop if we really understand our position, is to feel insignificant. That feeling of feeling insignificant is one of the qualifications for spiritual life. Feeling insignificant are one little living entity having a journey through the material world. And here, Lord Brahma, he has described to Narada, his son, how he's an engineer of the universe, he's an engineer of the material cosmic manifestation. He created everything. He created the demigods, he created the Prajapatis, the progenitor of the living entities, and he's so powerful, and his supreme intelligence. He has a supreme intelligence, and that's why he's put in charge of this universe. And here we are hearing from our Brahma, the Brahma of this universe. I see like already there's so much false ego in that, our Brahma. So it's my little universe, or my little planet, or my little, what's it called? Continent, my little, my country, my state. In America, there is states, and there is competition between the states, and then my town, and then my little villages, my little house. And it's just so insignificant if you really, really think about it. And so many times we think we want to be feeling like we are special, that there is something special about us. And so Lord Brahma is saying, no, even I and you and Lord Shiva, we don't even have the capacity to understand the extent of the expansion of the happiness of the Lord. And then the last two verses we have spoken about, like even the Lord himself cannot understand himself, because Ananda Buddhin Vardhanam, like the nature of happiness and bliss is to expand, unlimitedly expand. So there is a constant competition between the Lord's understanding of himself and the expansion of himself, and it doesn't ever catch up. And so in this purport, Srila Prabhupada describes some Mahajan. Mahajan means Mahajan, like the great personality. They have a great birth, they have a great personality. And then how, those great personalities, they do know something. But even though they know something, they are still very limited because they are part and parcel of the Lord in the material world, which is called Durga. And so what I like about this verse is how Lord Brahma, he presents according to our own individual ability. And then Srila Prabhupada went to explain, like, okay, there is those great personality like Brahma Loka is the highest planet. And then there is all the different demigods that are minister, like they are very powerful, like Indra, which is is in charge of all the accounting of the universe. He has so much wealth. And then we have Surya, the sun god. We have Vayu, the wind god, demigods. And so we have so many powerful demigods, and then semi-demigods are below that. And then, so there is also inhabitants, there is 3 different planetary systems, the upper planetary system, and then there is a lower planetary system where the Asuras, the Suras are the demigods, the Asuras are Asuras, they are not Suras, they don't have demigods qualities, and there are demons who live in a lower planetary system, and then there is intermediate planetary system, the intermediate medium planetary system. That's where we are at. So we are not demigods, most in the name of goodness, or asuras, like, like that, mainly driven by the lower mode of material nature. We are intermediate, we are in the middle. In fact, we are in the middle for a lot of things, because as human being, the human form is the only form that gives us the ability to understand that we are a marginal energy. So the living entity, the part and parcel of the Lord, are considered marginal energy, because they can choose. They can be entangled in the material energy, or they can be entangled in the spiritual energy. So in the human form, we come to a place where our free will is uncovered enough that we can make the choice to dedicate our life to a spiritual emancipation. And then Prabhupada goes on with the different abilities and describing how we are going to perceive the absolute truth only according to our conditioning, our conditioned mind, senses. And in this verse, we have an opportunity to understand the limitation of our sense perception. Like how we are so limited. We can very easily see how maybe some animals, for example, they see spectrum of the light that human being we cannot see. And some animals have the ability to see at night. We don't have that ability. Some animals have the ability to eat tons of food, and we don't have that ability. And we can, some animals are so sensitive that they hear some of the spectrum of the sound vibration, like the higher frequency of sound vibration, like bats do that. And they can even use, like that to direct themselves at night. We don't have that ability. So all that to say that our senses are very, very limited and our mind is very limited. So what to speak to imagine, to imagine, to understand the absolute truth, way beyond our sense perception, way beyond our ability, our mind, to try to understand it with our material and mental abilities. In fact, that's a question that Maharaj Parikshit was asking. How can one be liberated? Because all we have in this lifetime is our material senses and our material mind. And then that go into a conversation between Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadev Goswami, and describe different layers of conversation, which end up with like the personified Veda, really also speaking like that about how come it's possible. And it's possible with two things. It's possible by following someone who knows about the Lord, really, like someone, bhakti comes from bhakti. So we are only going to receive bhakti from someone who do have bhakti, someone who knows the Lord through service. Someone, the Lord is not going to reveal himself through our own endeavors. The Lord is going to reveal himself according to his own sweet will and through service. As we serve him, then naturally he reveals himself even in this world. We can see, like, if I want to know someone, if I want to understand someone more deeply, if I want to become close to someone, then I can create that through service. By service section, someone is going to, little by little, reveal themselves more and more to me. Maybe little by little, I will get to understand the deeper part of themselves that maybe is not visible to other people's perception. So, so those who know the Lord, they know the Lord through their devotional service, not through their own ability to try to control their knowledge, to try to control the Lord, only through devotional service, and to receive devotional service from someone who is a pure devotee, someone who is purely serving the Lord with love and devotion. Can we also reach the Lord not through our very tiny brain, Srila Prabhupada said, tiny brain of the scientist. I was meditating on the scientist and how come the human society gives so much credential and authority to the scientists when they try to describe, for example, Prabhupada said, the length of the universe, like they are trying to tell us when is the beginning of the universe, the creation of the universe and the end, or when they are trying to impose on us theory like Darwin theory or the theory about the creation of the universe. Why are we so easily giving that authority to the scientists? And Prabhupada responds to that question in his purport. He says the scientists, they can do play toys, they can make some plaything, playful discoveries such as spacecraft and similar product of science. So yes, the scientists, they can create more comfort for us. They can find vaccine, they can create more comfort, they can do surgery, they do bring comfort to human society. Like for a woman, like, wow, every woman is going to be surrendered to the scientists. Why? They create a wash machine. They created a dishwasher. They created a Hoover that can clean. And of course, naturally, we are going to worship those who create more comfort for us through science, medical science, or car, automobile, airplanes. So much comfort, so much ability, increased ability are created because of the scientists. But that doesn't mean because a scientist can create an airplane or a computer or even Zoom to have classes. That doesn't mean that they have the authority of transcendental knowledge, of knowledge way beyond their capacity to understand the absolute truth. But because scientists give all those commodities, then as human beings, we tend to give them credential and then accept them as authorities. So I like the way Prabhupada brings that point here. And then Prabhupada explained how we know about the absolute truth from the Veda. And he said the same way that we are going to find out who is our father. Let's say that, like I'm fatherless, then the only authority that can tell me who is my father is my mother. There's no other authority that's going to let me know who is my father than my mother. So similarly, if we want to know who is our father, who is our real father, where we're coming from, we want to hear from the Veda. And Prabhupada make a point here that all those Mahajan, those great souls, the Mahajan that we are supposed to follow, they take all authority from the Vedas. So we can do that the same. Today's Saturday morning, and then when I was living in temples, and all the temples I've been connected with, Saturday morning is the time when we read Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I'm going to read from the Chaitanya Charitamrita because Lord Chaitanya, he spoke about all those things that Lord Brahma is speaking about, and he spoke about all those things to Sanatana Goswami. And that's really special because we know about the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, where Krishna gives all the knowledge to Arjuna, and that created the Bhagavad Gita. And then in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Lord himself, he chose some of his associates to become those who are going to give us the knowledge. And so the way he does that is by giving them all the knowledge, to like really spend a lot of time. So he spent a lot of time with Sanatana Goswami and explaining to Sanatana Goswami the intricacy of transcendental knowledge, including our position in the material world, including the different layers of the cosmic manifestation. In hearing about the cosmic manifestation and Brahma, and Prabhupada make a point about Lord Brahma being like a little puffed up because he was thinking he was very special. Like we are sometimes puffed up because we create something special. And if we could understand that there is nothing special we can really create as human beings, even as Brahma, because, you know, even in this tiny planet, even if we do something, like say great personality, like, you know, great personality Gandhi's, or, you know, like great personality Mother Teresa, so many great personality, so many activists that have tried to change the planet. They didn't do much to really affect the planet. But like there is something quite humoristic about the present situation, is that even so those great men were thinking that they were very, very powerful, that they could have a lot of influence over the whole entire planet. They had not even a drop of the power that was exerted in the last few months by a tiny, tiny little virus. So that's already so kind of comical if we think about it, that how this little virus changed the planet when so many powerful men were trying to do the same thing, to make a change in the planet. So when the Lord wants, he can send his instrument in so many ways to make changes in the planet if he wishes to. So Sanatana Goswami was instructed by the Lord about our position. Our position is such that we sometimes speak about seeing our one universe as one mustard seed in a big bag of mustard seed. If you have seen, you know, we have here in our household, we have bulk everything really. We bulk life. We have bulk life here. So we have bulk everything. So we have sometimes 1 or 2 pounds of mustard seeds. And that's the bag. And I don't know, impossible to imagine to count the mustard seed in 1 pound. So imagine a big bag with many pounds of mustard seed, and how insignificant one mustard seed is in that bag. And if you think that one mustard seed in our universe with like 14 planetary systems, so many planets, and we are just on one tiny planet. Now it's easy to become humble. So Sanatana Goswami is going to hear from Lord Chaitanya. I'm not going to read the Bengali, I'm just going to go through the story. So it's Madhya Lila chapter 21st, and we are going to start with text 50. So it's the Lord directly speaking to Sanatana Goswami. So he said, between the spiritual and material world is a body of water known as the river Viraj. This water is generated by the bodily perspiration of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Vedanga. Thus the river flows. Beyond the river Viraj is a spiritual nature which is indestructible, eternal, inexhaustible, and unlimited. It is a supreme abode consisting of 3/4 of the Lord's opulences. It is known as Paravyoma, the spiritual sky. Paravyoma, spiritual sky. On the other side of the river Viraj is the external abode, which is full of unlimited universes, each containing unlimited atmospheres. The abode of the external energy is called Devi, and its inhabitants are conditioned souls. It is there that the material energy Durga resides with many opulent maidservants. And in a purport, Srila Prabhupada said, for material facilities, the conditioned soul tries to please the goddess Durga, and Mother Durga supplies all kinds of material facilities. Because of this, the conditioned soul are allured and do not wish to leave this external energy. Consequently, they are continuously making plans to live here peacefully and happily. So, like the conditioned soul, conditioning is to make plans to live peacefully and happily. Even though it never happened, that's what we do here. Such is the material world. Krishna is the supreme proprietor of all Dham, including Goloka Dham, Vaikuntha Dham, and Devi Dham. The Paravyoma and Goloka Dham are beyond Devi Dham, this material world. The spiritual world is considered to be 3/4 of the energy of and opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas this material world is only 1/4 of that energy. That is our understanding. So there is a spiritual sky, and that's all that there is, and only 1/4 of that spiritual sky is where we reside. So I'm going to go further to a story. And actually, it is very difficult to ascertain the number of universes. Every universe has its separate Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, who are known as permanent governors. Therefore, there is also no counting them. So now Lord Chaitanya is going to tell a story about Lord Krishna. That's the story that Prabhupada is referring to in our purport. He said, once, when Krishna was ruling Dwarka, Lord Brahma came to see him, and the doorman immediately informed Lord Krishna of Brahma's arrival. When Krishna was so informed, he immediately asked the doorman, which Brahma? No, when Krishna was, which Brahma? What is his name? The doorman therefore returned and questioned Lord Brahma. When the doorman asked, which Brahma? Lord Brahma was surprised. He told the doorman, please go inform the Lord that I am the 4-headed Brahma, who is the father of the 4 Kumaras. The doorman then informed Lord Krishna and Lord Brahma's description, and Lord Krishna gave him permission to enter The doorman escorted by Lord Brahma in, and as soon as Brahma saw the Lord, he offered obeisances at his lotus feet. These Brahmas had different numbers. Oh, sorry, I skipped the page. After being worshipped by Lord Brahma, Lord Krishna also honored him with suitable words. Then Lord Krishna asked him, "Why have you come here?" Being questioned, Lord Brahma immediately replied, "I shall later tell you why I have come. First of all, there is a doubt in my mind which I wish you would kindly dissipate." So even Lord Brahma have doubt. He doesn't understand his position. So what to speak about us? So, why did you inquire which Brahma had come to see you? What is the purpose of such an inquiry? Is there any other Brahma besides me within this universe? So how many times we think like that? Is there any other person like me in this universe? Am I not the center of the universe? Am I not the most important person in the universe? We inquire all the time in that way. Yeah? Upon hearing this, Sri Krishna smiled and immediately meditated. Unlimited Brahmas arrived instantly. So when the Lord think or meditate, his meditation or his thoughts become reality. So he was meditating on all the Brahmas of the so many unlimited number of universe, and they all came, all of Sudan in Dwarka. These Brahma had different number of heads. Some had 10 heads, some 20, some 100, some 1,000, some 10,000, some 100,000, some 10 millions, and other hundreds millions. No one can count the number of faces they had. They also arrived many Lord Shiva, with various heads numbering 100,000 and 10 millions. Many Indras also arrived, and they had hundreds of thousands of eyes all over their bodies. When the four-headed Brahma of this universe saw all these opulences of Krishna, he became very bewildered and considered himself a rabbit amongst many elephants. Here we go. Lord Brahma got it. He got it, he became humble right away. So that verse is about us, because humility is a key for spiritual life. From a place of humility, then there is nothing that can happen to us. From humility, we are automatically fearless. From humility, there is no envy anymore. From humility, naturally, we can respect all, be devoid of all sense of false prestige, Lord Chaitanya said. All the Brahma who came to see Krishna offered their respect at his lotus feet. And when they did, their helmet touched his lotus feet. How beautiful to see all the helmet of all the Brahma touching Lord Krishna's lotus feet. And how inconceivable it is. Krishna is just one king, and all the Brahma with millions of heads, they all bow their head down to Krishna's lotus feet and all touch his feet. How inconceivable the Lord. No one can estimate the inconceivable potency of Krishna. And all the Brahma who were there were resting in one body of Krishna. When all the helmets stuck together at Krishna's lotus feet, there was a tumultuous sound. It appears that the helmets themselves were offering prayers unto Krishna's lotus feet. With folded hand, all the Brahma and Shiva began to offer prayers unto Lord Krishna, saying, "O Lord, you have shown me a great favor. I have been able to see your lotus feet." So that's the greatest favor, to see Lord Krishna's lotus feet. And Lord Krishna takes his form as the deities. And every day we can look at the lotus feet of our deities and be transcendentally purified by that darshan of the lotus feet of the deities. All of them then said, "It is my great fortune, Lord, that you have called me, thinking of me as your servant. Now let me know what your order is so that I may carry it on my head." So that's our attitude. We see Lord Krishna in the deity form, and right away our attitude is, what can I do for you? What can I do? What can I carry? What can I carry on my head? to please you? Lord Krishna replied, since I wanted to see you all, since I wanted to see all of you together, I have called all of you here. All of you should be happy. Is there any fear from the demons? They replied, by your mercy, we are victorious everywhere. And there is a story in the Bhagavatam where the demigods, they are not victorious. And usually it's because they have committed some offenses somewhere, like to their spiritual master or like they became puffed up in some way or another. But here, like the Lord is so merciful, Dwarkadish, the Lord of Dwarka, is so merciful. He said, all of you should be happy. Is there any fear from the demons? He's inquiring. And Prabhupada was famous to also inquire like that. He would inquire from his disciple, how are you? Are you happy? Are you healthy? Prabhupada will inquire, and it's such a personal process. It's such a personal way of living that our highest well-wisher, they also inquire about our position in the material world, because the fight between the demigods and the demons within Durga Devi, within the fortress of this material world. Still, Lord Chaitanya takes the time, Lord Krishna, Dwarkadish, takes the time to inquire from the demons in that way. Whatever burden was upon the earth, you have taken away by descending on that planet. So the demigods are really appreciated Lord Krishna's descent on our little earth here. We can be proud of that. This is a proof of Dwarka's opulence. All the Brahma thought, Krishna is now staying in my jurisdictions. Thus the opulence of Dwarka was perceived by each and every one of them. Also, they were all assembled together. No one could see anyone but himself. So even though they were all there, they only could see themselves with Krishna. Lord Krishna then bade farewell to all the Brahmas there. And after offering their obeisances, they all returned to their respective homes. After observing all these opulences, the four-headed Brahma of this universe was astonished. He again came before the lotus feet of Krishna and offering obeisances. So that's all the same Brahma that we are hearing from in the Bhagavatam right now, who is preaching to his son Narada about the opulence of the Lord, including describing the unlimited potency of Vladini, of his happiness potency that cannot be, doesn't have any limits and cannot be conceived. So the same Brahma here is in front of Lord Krishna in Dwarka, and he is speaking. Brahma then said, whatever I formally decided about my knowledge, I have just now had personally verified. So he thought he was knowing a lot of things, because he knew a lot of things. He knew more than any one of us. He knew about all the cosmic manifestation. He knew about the creation. He knew about Krishna, because all the ingredients of his sacrifice and all the ingredients of his creation were coming from Krishna. But still, he wasn't really understanding the bigger picture. Then there are people who say, so again, Lord Brahma is going to say exactly the same thing practically than what he said in the Bhagavatam to Narada. So he says, there are people who say, I know everything about Krishna. I know everything about Krishna. Let them think in that way. As far as I'm concerned, I do not wish to speak very much about this matter. Oh my Lord, let me say this much. As far as your opulences are concerned, they are all beyond the reach of my mind, body, and words. So Lord Brahma, he understands that the opulence of Krishna are beyond his mind, body, and words. So what to speak of an ordinary human being? I'm going to stop here. Hare Krishna. I'm going to read the verse again to see again how similar those two verses are. Lord Brahma says, since neither Lord Shiva nor you nor I could ascertain the limit of spiritual happiness, how can other demigods know it? And because all of us are bewildered by the illusory external energy of the Supreme Lord, we can see only this manifested cosmos according to our own individual ability. So even the material cosmos, even our little universe, even in our little earth, we can only see according to our own ability. Hare Krishna, I'm looking forward to conversation, discussion, challenges, question with you. Yes, Dominique.
Yeah, this is a nice thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class. Yeah, it's like perfect class to stumble into today. And in my personal life, without like going into all the details, basically like Gaetano and I were selling our home and our house is under contract. And we thought we would do like for sale by owner and like get more money or have like more control or something. And maybe that was just totally exactly the way it's supposed to be. But at the same time, we know someone in the neighborhood who put their house on the market for like much higher price. Our house is probably worth more than their house because of the size and everything. They put their house on the market at a much higher price and we didn't reevaluate the price. And then they got a agent and they have an offer and they're gonna, and like, we're like, we may have significantly underpriced our house and we're in the contract. And I don't want to go into all details, but the point is it's just like really humbling. Like, you know, part of me wants to like get control back and like exit the contract. And, you know, and I'm trying to be open-minded, like maybe it's like we just didn't know what we're doing. Or maybe we're really lucky we don't realize it. Like maybe there's like a crash about to happen and that other sale is not going to go through and this one is. And it's just like I can't calculate.
You're trying to own capacity, intellectual capacity, knowledge capacity, understanding capacity to try to regain control of the situation. And then and you come into a place like Lord Brahma, like, wow, no, it's just like, I could become completely confused and bewildered and spend thousands of years and still not understanding what may be happening tomorrow about the sale of my house.
Yeah, like I'm not going to become an expert at the real estate market. And I wasn't, obviously. And we may have done the most intelligent thing, or we may have lost all this money. And Gaetano and I are hearing about that other offer and we're like, oh, what could we have done with that money? Anyway, it's just an interesting situation. But yeah, it's just so humbling. Like, that's what we did and this is what we deserve in the future. And I don't know if we should make any changes. It's just, we're not going to rush to become experts in the next 3 days. Even then, we don't know what the future holds. It's just, anyway, it's humbling.
It's very humbling to realize how little control we have, and specifically with that, the sale of your house, seeing like, oh, we were really coming from a place of being ignorant of the market and not knowing how it works, but maybe not. Maybe the Lord have a bigger picture that He wants to show us, and maybe everything we have done until now to sell our house is perfect. And you're kind of giving up, trying to figure it out and surrendering in humility.
Yeah, we can't calculate, just thinking about it philosophically, like, I'm so controlling. I want to control the outcomes of my life. And we really can't feel security out of our plan. Like our plans, even if we try to be as intelligent as possible, we really don't know like what's coming at any point and all the moments and days and months and years ahead. It's just, we really are so like vulnerable and at the hands of so many forces, especially, you know, whatever karma and the material world and then whatever Krishna has in mind. And anyway, it's just,
Yeah, you want to be philosophical in approaching that situation, understanding, okay, well, that our situation anyway is that house is going to be destroyed and everything is going to be destroyed. And I don't have any control over what's happening in this life, what's happening even in the next minute. And to try to control is very futile and only bringing more and more suffering and pain, and leading you to think about like, oh yeah, there is a supreme controller, and there is a shelter. As long as we try to manipulate, control, trying to control the outcome, clear intention and controlling the outcome is quite different. Then we are going to suffer. We are going to suffer because things are not going to go according to our plan. Our plan for peace and happiness, probably by saying the purport. Our plan for peace and happiness, they are going to be baffled one after another.
Yeah, I find it so relieving to hear from Prabhupada. It's consistently just like, oh, you know, thank yous. I feel so relieved being put in my position from whatever pride I had, or it's just like, I just want the truth more than I want than I want some illusion. So anyway, yeah, your class was very relieving for me. Like, yeah, you know, I'm tiny.
For you, it's more important to even if you get your ego, false ego, our false ego. We have our false ego, like Brahma, this false ego. But Brahma really enjoyed his false ego, his pride to be smashed. He was like, oh my God. And then he was with the Lord and appreciated the opulence of the Lord. And that led him to really glorify the Lord. And it led him to come closer to the Lord. So that's what you want. You want to come closer to the Lord. And yeah, life, you know, like there is something I meditate a lot. It's like when I do an action or when I respond to a situation, am I trying to protect my spiritual life and do what's favorable for my spiritual life, or am I trying to protect my false ego or my false identification? And then from your perspective, what you're sharing, Dominic, is that it's not important for me. My false ego is not important. Even if it get crushed, or even my illusion of control get crushed, I feel ecstatic about it. I enjoy that. I want that, because what is more important for me is to come to my real identity, to come to understand the absolute truth. And the absolute truth is that I'm not in control of how much my house is going to sell for. Thank you for sharing, Dominic. Kim?
Yes, Kim. Hi. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. I really enjoyed that entire talk. I think that story of Brahma with the doorman is such a wonderful story. I never heard that story. I'm surprised, and I just want to say, I mean, it really shows you Krishna and where we're at. It's like one of the best I've heard for illustrating that. And it's a story I'm going to remember now for the rest of my life, but I don't remember hearing it. And it just also hit me how, you know, Prabhupada is saying our teeny minds. And I think about all the stories that I know from the Srimad Bhagavatam and Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya, and how much they do help me when I'm having issues or problems. Like our teeny mind, we can think we're filling it with so much philosophy and so many facts, but these stories, like really, they are really what resonate and stay in your mind through so many issues throughout your life. I think of them as strength, and and that story is going to be one of them. I just want to say that. So thank you.
It's going to add this story about Lord Brahma entering Dwarka and be asked, like, which Brahma? How crushing that must have been for Lord Brahma to receive. And this story is like, you have a repertoire of story in your mind, and that repertoire of story of the different interaction between the devotee of the Lord and the Lord. They are with you, they are your companion. They are helping you when things don't go the way you want to go, or when you feel challenged or scared or anything. Like those stories are there, and you have those repertoire of stories that you see they are your friends, they are really helping. And then this story of Brahma is one more story to really help in a day-to-day life. And you know, it's easy to be confused that we are very special, unique, and the center of the universe. And by remembering this story, we can see, like, yeah, even Brahma is not the center of the universe, and that story remind him that he's really insignificant. In fact, the four-headed Brahma is the one who has the least head, and the universe is controlling is the smallest universe in the whole material cosmic manifestation. So that's really interesting.
Yes. No, I loved it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim, for your sharing. I appreciate like you're bringing home how those stories, they are our friends, they are there. And the more we absorb ourselves in the story of Krishna and his devotees, the more they come back to us, and we can remember them when we need them. And I appreciate that. That's the way you have been living your lives. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I have two questions. Can you hear me?
Yes, Ladini, I can hear you. Hare Krishna.
Yes. So, like, is Brahma like never learning? Because, like, when Krishna is in Dwarka, it's already after Brahma stole the cowherd voice, and there is a similar story of other Brahmas from other universes coming. So, like, how comes that just like few years later, Brahma is again confused that there is more Brahmas? That's my first question.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have second question, and that is like I appreciate the point of how insignificant we are, and that's like always feels good to remember that or to be reminded of that. And then at the same time, like, I think I am the most important for myself, and that's just true for me. And like, where does it have place in that?
Yes, thank you for your question, Ladini. So your first question is Brahma ever learning? And you know, of course, Brahma, you know, is seen as a pure devotee, the head of our sampradaya, and also is seen as an associate of the Lord, and he has a role to play. And yes, he gets confused and bewildered, and because he gets confused and bewildered, it's helping us, because when we see Brahma as being confused and bewildered, then it's easy for us to become humble. Like, if he can be confused and bewildered, what to speak of us. So that's helpful in that way. And so if I look at my life, there's so many times when I get smashed by the Lord, where my ego gets smashed, where my false pride gets smashed, when I have understanding how I acted in a way that was not conducive for spiritual lives. There is so many moments where I have the understanding, some understanding of my position, and then the next moment I forget. Even so, I have learned my lesson many times. I have learned my lesson so many times, and we can all say that. We have learned our lesson many times. Many times we had the right realization. We came to open our eyes and say, oh yes, come on again. I was in Maya, I was illusion, I was lost in my own God project in the material world. And then yeah. Again and again, we are smashed to the ground, and again we forget our realization, and we forget our position. We are not steady in those realizations. So Lord Brahma, yeah, that's an excellent point you're making, that Lord Brahma was confused about his mystic power. He was thinking that he was more powerful than the little, you know, coward boy Krishna. And then that boomerang to him, like his own mystic power kind of came back to him, and he was completely confused and bewildered and felt so sheepish and embarrassed about himself, about what he did. and he offered obeisances to Krishna, and he praised Krishna, and he understood Krishna's position, and all that. And then again, when Krishna was in Dwarka, then again the same thing happened, that he got confused again. So I believe that Lord Brahma is, he's helping us understand how easily we can forget, even when we understand, or even when we come back to our senses and understand the Lord is all powerful and in control of everything, how the next moment we can completely forget that. So that's my response to your first question. And
I just want to say that that's I appreciate that point. It certainly could be that because we can say it was whatever, maybe 40, 60 years between the Brahma Vimohan Leela, Brahma stealing the cowboys, and then the Dwarka something. And for 40, 60 years for Brahma, it wouldn't be 40, 60 years. It would be maybe like a millionth of a second or something like that, really. So, but that could be. At the same time, it's possible. It's possible that that the Dwarka pastime you read, and I really appreciate you read that, and I deepen my appreciation hearing Kim sharing about like that story she's going to remember, forever, and how impactful it is to help her remember the power of Krishna. But it could be that was like Krishna's appearance in a different day of Brahma, or even a different year of Brahma, or a different decade of Brahma. Right, so because the Bhagavatam, it's very clear that there's different millenniums described, different universes, different creations. So what you read, Lord Chaitanya, discussing with Sanatan Goswami, that pastime with Brahma and Dwarka, it's not necessarily from 5,200 years ago. So I just want to put out that possibility. Along with, again, I very much appreciate you read that, from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya's teaching of Sanatan Goswami. And then in you reading that, Malini, my sense, and I really like this, there's such a close parallel to this verse from Bhagavatam you read. My subjective sense is that like Brahma is speaking this verse to Narada Muni after he got the realization from the Dwarka pastime, where he realized how he's just a little rabbit amongst millions of elephants. That's like my intuitive sense. Like Brahma had that realization that in speaking this after he had that pastime in Dwarka. But whether that's true or not, it's possible that the pastime in Dwarka isn't the same day of Brahma and Krishna's appearance. Just want to put that possibility.
I really appreciate your sharing, dear Govinda, because I was wondering, why is that pastime not in Krishna book? Why is that pastime not in the Bhagavatam? So it seems that it will be an indication of what you're saying, that because it's not in that, maybe even that Kalpa, or like in that day of Brahma, or in that week of Brahma, that it may have taken place before in a different age. I really appreciate that point. And then, like, he add to the response to Ladini Shakti. Hare Krishna. Thank you. And then your second question, Ladini, is the feeling of being insignificant. How can I feel insignificant and still, like, I'm feeling that I'm most important? And I think we can see that in Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. In fact, I had a nice realization not long ago. I was reading from the Antya Lila, and Raghunath Das Goswami, he put so much effort to be with Lord Chaitanya, so much effort. He was Lord Nityananda described Raghunath Das Goswami to have the same opulence of Indra. So he was so wealthy and he had so much opulence in his life. And so he wanted to be with Lord Chaitanya. And finally, through a lot of different stories, he came to be with Lord Chaitanya. And when he came to be with Lord Chaitanya, the first thing Lord Chaitanya says is that is that he started to glorify the Raghunath Das to all the devotees, which is something that's happened a lot, the glorification of the devotees. And so he started, and when he started to glorify him like as like not being interested in material anything. And he describes the material world as a pit hole full of stool. So that's the material world, how, like Lord Chaitanya describes the material world as a pit hole full of stool. And then later on in the purports, Prabhupada speak about our position is like we are warm in that stool. We are warm in that stool. And the worm in the stool is really happy to eat the stool. And if you take him out, he's kind of complaining like, oh, I don't want to be out. So it's just in the same way, we don't want to be taken out of the material energy, even so it's a pit full of stool. And so Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, which is a great, great devotee of the Lord, he was entrusted by the Vaishnav, by the greatest Vaishnav, he was entrusted, and by Lord Nityananda directly, to write the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that's a balance, because Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he described himself that he's lower than a worm in stool. So it's how insignificant he is. As a part and parcel, it's like, yeah, how important is that life? It's tottering like a drop of water on the leaves. This lifetime is so insignificant. Our existence as Mari Glashin or Malini Devi Dasi is so insignificant. So to see that this is really insignificant, completely insignificant, our lifetime, our little persona, our little cartoon character, this is insignificant. And what does have significance is that we are part and parcel of Krishna. And what does have significance is our service to Krishna. And so Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, parallel to like feeling that he's lower than warm in the stool, he also says that he's empowered by the Lord to write this Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that's the balance. The balance is really feeling insignificant in our material conditioning, and really understanding our significance and how important it is to take care of this vehicle, even though the vehicle is not significant, it's still the vehicle. And the vehicle for what? To fulfill my purpose of reconnecting with my eternal constitutional position as servant of Krishna, as always, like eternally servant of Krishna. And that's significant. And so based on that significance, then I take care of me. And based on that significance, I want to make myself important in as far as my importance to render service to the spiritual master, to really like serve the spiritual master, to connect with the pure devotee, because only the pure devotee has the power to take me out of the material energy, like that.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
What would like it said something about the individuals and the different levels of the universe having a different conception of what the absolute truth is. I'm wondering what would that look like for them?
For them, well, I don't know how it look like for them. Thank you, Chris, for your question. Because they have bigger brain than me. So because they already have bigger brain than me, my little tiny brain is not going to figure out their bigger brain. It's just natural. We can understand something that's inferior to us, but we don't have the capacity to understand something that's superior to us. So I don't know that. But like the conception of Brahma in that story is that it was a unique Brahma with the Lord. So that's something. What I think Srila Prabhupada is speaking about is like according to our own capacity in our conditioned state, then we are making we have conception about the absolute truth. And what is the conception of the demigod about the absolute truth? I don't know. What I understand from Srila Prabhupada in his purport is that they also have their own conception of the absolute truth. And that I like the part of the purport where it really emphasizes the individuality there in terms of individual capacity. So everyone think in terms of individual capacity that this universe, which is manifested before us, is all in all. So that's it. So Brahma has that sense of, according to his own capacity, and he has a lot more capacities than I do or than human beings have. And the universe manifested before him is the one universe that he is in charge of. And he was really thinking that it is all in all, because he didn't really even conceive that there was other universe with other Brahma, and universes that were way bigger than the universe he is in control of.
Yeah, so the key is just humility to be able to not get stuck in this trap of.
Yeah, I like the individual aspect of it personally. Thank you for your question.
Just reflecting on the previous discussion, it seems like we're encouraged to take our service seriously, not to become proud or arrogant or think ourselves important, but like to give 100% to do our service in excellence, whether it's studying Prabhupada's books, giving a class, caring for our children, for Krishna, whatever our service is, distributing books, doing bookkeeping, to be like that, because that service is distinctive. There's an ordinary analogy, like, okay, there's so many trillions of stars in the sky, each is insignificant in a sense, and each one illuminates the sky in its distinctive way. And to not take the drama of life seriously. Like, I think I appreciate Dominique sharing, like, okay, like, see, oh, we could have got this much, we could have got that much. Okay, in terms that it's service, because we're using the money for Krishna. At the same time, wherever there's any false ego involved and the lack of humility, to kind of cultivate a consciousness where, okay, that's the temporary manifestation, and to not give importance to that, because that's about my arrogance, my adoration, my prestige, my puffed up image of myself, and at the same time to give ourselves with full enthusiasm to perform our service in excellence and to take that seriously. And that's humility, because like humility, I'm understanding my position as a servant of Srila Prabhupada, and I'm giving myself fully to do that service. And that's where we do want to take that seriously, which is different than taking our false ego, material ego, seriously.
Thank you, dear Govinda Prabhu. Like, I know I have been very inspired by your ability to be in excellence in that way, to really, regardless what you're doing, to do it in excellence for Srila Prabhupada. An example of that is like the series of group coachings that we are having now, and I've seen you, like how much energy you put, or how much energy you put in reading the books, or energy you put in preparing for anything you're doing. And that's inspiring, and you're a living example of that, and I appreciate that. And yeah, to really not take ourselves seriously, and definitely not this little persona, cartoon character seriously, because there is nothing to take seriously there. It's just so insignificant. It's going to be finished in a flash. And to really take seriously our service to the spiritual master, and to do that in excellence, because we take our services seriously. Thank you, Hare Krishna. It's really inspiring.
I have a question.
Yes, Easy. Dr. Easy.
When Ladini asked the question about, okay, there's just 2 pastimes, I was at work, you and Dear Govinda both mentioned maybe it's on a different day of Brahma
Yeah.
And like my understanding of a different day of Brahma is like, okay, the material creation is destroyed at night and then it's created again. Something like this. But doesn't Brahma remain? So wouldn't he still remember what happened in the previous creation? Or is he himself is not destroyed day to day, correct?
Yeah, but I think that's what dear Govinda was kind of hinting at. I appreciate what you're saying. No, it's not. Like Brahma is staying, you know, he go to sleep at night, and then yes, his day and his week and his months. But then the apparition of Krishna on this earth doesn't, you know, it doesn't happen. Well, like there is different apparition for each of his days. So maybe, yes, it was a week before. So it was kind of connected with what Ladini was saying, maybe a week of Brahma before, but not within the pastime of Lord Krishna on earth in that specific day of Brahma when Lord Krishna appeared. Well, Lord Krishna appeared on a certain day of Brahma, and he had his pastime, and there was like the boomerang pastime. And then we're reading about this pastime, and that other pastime in Dwarka may not have happened in the same sequence of Lord Krishna's pastime in one day of Brahma. It may have happened before that in a different day of Brahma, or in a different week, or in a different month within his life, like that. So, and
yeah, just to give the temporal perspective from Brahma's point of view. So like if the two pastimes, Brahma, Vimohan Leela and the Dwarka with so many Brahmas, if those two pastimes happened in the same appearance of Krishna about 5,200 years ago, for Brahma, literally, it would be like a nanosecond. It would be like a nanosecond. Okay, so whereas our current Brahma recently had his 50th birthday, just a few, whatever, billions of years ago. And so actually he had his 50th birthday. So let's say it was a day of Krishna during Brahma's 20th year or 10th year, 15th year, something like that. So then from Brahma's perspective, between the two pastimes, it would have been maybe 30 years, or as Malini just indicated, maybe it was seven days ago, maybe it was a week of Brahma, maybe it was a year ago, maybe it was 20 years ago. And then if it's 20 years ago, then it becomes more, we could maybe accommodate more that, yeah, okay, the Dwarka thing happened 30 years ago from Brahma's point of view. 30 years later, he got bewildered again and tried to steal the cowherd boys and calves, something like that. We're conjecturing. I believe this is what Prabhupada would call permissible speculation, but just so we get the perspective from Brahma's time dimension.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So when all this is so insignificant, why would Srila Prabhupada ask, like, are you happy and are you healthy? It's like, why is it not a meaningless question then?
Thank you for your question, Ladini. And my understanding is Srila Prabhupada's Paradukha Dukhi, like he's feeling our suffering. He's very feeling our suffering in our material condition. He understands that our tendency is to think, to identify with this body, to identify with this lifetime, to identify with all that. He understands that he has a vision of eternity. Doesn't mean that he doesn't have the vision of temporary effect on our life of what's happening. And he has both vision. And I believe that Prabhupada, out of his deep compassion for our conditioned state, is inquiring because he wants to make sure that we take care of our body properly, that we take care of our mental health properly also. It's both happiness, like that. And ultimately what he's giving us is transcendence. But in giving us transcendence, he's not avoiding supporting us in taking care of our vehicle and understanding that often we identify with our vehicle.
Yeah, it seems that the principle is to take our service seriously, and Prabhupada's taking his service seriously. And a part of his service is to sincerely care about the happiness and well-being of his sincere followers. He's taking his service seriously.
You know, like Lord Chaitanya does the same thing. We see like even Krishna asks to the demigods, "Are you happy? Are you feel full?" You know, like that. They kind of know how to reach us where we are at, meeting us where we are at, and at the same time not leaving us there. Thank you for your question, Nadine.
Hare Krishna.
I was just reflecting on how you had mentioned the other day that the soul was like terrified being put in this material context, and just thinking about like just being flung into like outer space, you know, just into the material context, whether you're a demigod or an ant or a human being. It's like it is inherently terrifying. And for Srila Prabhupada, for Krishna himself, to be just like, they can see like that we're like flying out here, like, yeah, and we're, you know, expressing that in some way, or maybe we're not, but they can see that. And for them to like be looking at that context, see us in our desperation and our pain and our false identification, to have that compassion is really beautiful. It makes me think like, yeah, everybody's like in this like really intense dream, this like psychedelic trip, and they're like the sober ones that are like, okay,
Yeah.
how are you? Like, yeah, and inspiring us to get up in different ways.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I appreciate your sharing, Narayani. What was coming to me is parenting, you know, parenting a child. And let's say the child is doing something very foolish that makes them sick, like eating ice cream or doing something foolish that really hurts them. And then the parents can see like, you're hurting yourself. And you could have, you know, a really beautiful life if you were to eat differently, or if you were study, whatever. The parents have the big picture of what will be satisfying, fulfilling for the child, but the child is choosing differently. And still the parents can meet the child where they are at and say, oh yes, it's with compassion and empathy. Even so, the parents know the child could have any different choice. Still the parents is going to be with the child if the child gets sick, or give medicine to the child if the child gets sick. We are caring for the child. Yeah.
Can I have one more question?
Yes, Vladimir.
So when Srila Prabhupada says, like, ask if we are happy and healthy, isn't it also like setting up like example for ourselves? Like when Srila Prabhupada inquires that from ourselves, meeting ourselves where we are at, isn't it also like making example for us to do the same thing? Like make it important, not only that like it's important that I give 100% to my service, but also it is important that I am happy and healthy. Like,
yeah, I don't see distinctions there. You're making distinctions that for me don't exist. Like my service for Srila Prabhupada is to be healthy and happy. Like it's not like I'm giving 100% to my service and then I'm a complete basket case and I'm sick all the time. Like, yeah, Srila Prabhupada gives us an example because he wants to understand that, yeah, our service is to be happy and healthy in service to Krishna, in service to Srila Prabhupada. I don't make that distinction between the two. For sure.
Sometimes Srila Prabhupada would say three things in this order: health, sadhana, service. And he would put health first. Yeah. So,
okay, that helps. Thank you.
Okay.
It sounded to me like you were making the distinction from the previous discussion, but I hear that you don't, and so that's
all I wanted to hear.
I know I was recently sick for 8 weeks. I felt very on purpose. Like being sick, I felt very on purpose. I didn't feel like, oh, I'm sick. I should be, you know, at the beginning, I had my own process about my service, but it took me a few days and then I shifted and then I felt really on purpose. And I felt like, yeah, I was doing service and I was doing exactly what Prabhupada wanted me to do. And Dominic sent me that quote about Prabhupada's priorities. Yes. Rukmini said something. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. That's Rukmini sent us a reminder. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. That's our service. That's what Srila Prabhupada wants us to do. It's our responsibility to make sure we are happy in Krishna consciousness. It's our responsibility to be healthy in Krishna consciousness. And that's our service. Yes.
Okay, nice.
Nice. Hare Krishna. Thank you all. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for listening.